Alright, y'all, we are back with another episode of Don't Be Like Me, Be Better Than Me, okay? Oh, somebody is being too hard on themselves, okay? You're being too hard on yourself. You gotta stop that. Don't be so hard on yourself. The only reason why you feel bad about what has happened is because you've grown. You have changed. If you were still the same, you wouldn't be feeling what you feel. But you can't beat yourself up forever. You know now. Hey, some of us have to learn the hard way. I am one of those. I am we and you are me. But you can't stay there, because staying there is only going to lead to you feeling doubtful, fearful, everything that you do not want to feel, okay? Yes, this is a phase in the process. If you are trying to work on yourself, if you're trying to improve, you're trying to be better, you're going to get a few moments where you're like, it just hits you like, yeah, we could have did better here, or you could get convicted in your spirit about, I maybe shouldn't have said that like that, or wishing to take back something that you can now undo. Now you got to accept what has happened. You're going to have to accept what has happened, but understand now that you are not the same person. You are not, there's no way you're the same person. If you feel bad about what has happened, that is telling you, that is a signal to let you know that you are not the same. I made a video recently that I did not post yet because I didn't know if it was fully clear in that video, but it was just one of those random, well, most of them are random, but I don't know if I was clear enough in what I was saying, but I've definitely had moments like that where it's like, man, if I did that, how would I be able to move forward and trust that moving forward I'm going to be able to get it right? And you know what? Life has no guarantee. There may be something else that comes up and you might hit another roadblock. But you should have acquired some type of wisdom at this point based off what you've experienced or what you've gone through. You should have some type of wisdom, something that you may not have had before. There's some type of eye-opening experience. But you cannot stay and beat yourself up, because it only leads down a path of doubtfulness and fearfulness and hopelessness. But in the video that I posted, it was about me feeling like, as I've been waking up to so much that has happened in my life and learning how to take better control of it, at least of the things that I know that I can control, it's like looking at the past version of me and me being the future, the present version of me, and feeling like I have to clean up her mess, the mess that she has made, and trying to, it just feels like almost like you wake up inside somebody else's story and now you're trying to make sense of all the pieces, put pieces back together, sweep up and throw out the things that don't need to be here anymore. And the one thing about, as you're becoming a better person or you're improving in your life, it seems like the closer you're getting to some type of breakthrough in character or breakthrough in lifestyle or whatever type of breakthrough that you're specifically focusing on improving, there seems to be this thing where it's like there's resistance. It's going to be good for you to identify where is that resistance coming from. 2, being able to recognize you may be in a place or a season that you have not been in, or maybe you were in before but weren't as aware as you are today. This is not the time to be hard on yourself. This is the worst possible time to be hard on yourself, because you're being hard on a version of you that is still in the process of being created. This is like being hard on a child that doesn't know much about anything. They're new, they're learning. Yeah, we got our old soul kids and stuff like that, but we still are learning from scratch. Treat yourself right now in this season as the child. You're just being, you're a newborn. You are a newborn. You are being reborn, rebirthed in this process. You have to treat yourself as tenderly as you can. I don't know if tenderly is how you say it. But you have to be tender with yourself. You have to be compassionate with yourself. And if you are also in a season of isolation while you're going through this, you are in the perfect cocoon. This is the best place to be in to process all that you need to process. This is a chance for you to face those inadequacies, those insecurities, those doubts and those fears. Because the one thing about doubts and fears, whenever you give energy to it, whenever you give attention to them, they will seem much bigger than what they actually are. The best thing that you can do with those doubts and those fears is ignore them. You have got to ignore them and understand that there is a breakthrough, that you are pushing through. You're pushing yourself to your limits, and you're pushing past barriers that have once been in your way. So yes, you're going to feel resistance. It's going to require a little more effort, a little more consistency than you ever have before. But it is going to be worth it, and you will not have to always do this, because the one thing about it's about forming habits. You're forming new habits, and those things take time. But once you develop that habit, you might every now and then at that point have to remind yourself. But it's not as much as the effort and the work that you're putting in now. You have got to remember that. You are solidifying a newness. You have taken a big step, and you're trying to solidify a new foundation and take a stance in that new foundation. You are going to get tempted with things that look like things that you would have been into before. You're going to be tempted with different thoughts that you've always had. You have got to ignore that. That is part of breaking through the barrier. That is part of breaking through the barrier. Do not be hard on yourself. It's going to make it more harder than it has to be. This is not the time to be hard on yourself. Trust me, I'm telling you this because I just had to push myself out of that energy. And it's making me start thinking about the triggers in that area of what's making me want to be so hard on myself, or push myself past a point of where I only can take so much right now. Like, we're not telling newborn kids to go and figure out, we're not instantly, they're born and we're putting them on a bike to learn how to ride a bike or drive a car. We're not pushing them to walk immediately when their legs are not strong enough to withstand this new environment, this new territory. Please keep that in mind right now. It's so intense and it's so heavy right now. Keep in mind that you are on fresh ground, okay? You are not going to be as stable as you would like to be, only because you're new. You're building upon a new foundation, a new territory. This is your time to explore this new environment, this new territory. Even if it's just within yourself, this is a time to explore yourself, to figure out what are the triggers, what's triggering you to feel like you need to be so hard on yourself right now. What caused it? Did you see something and it's like, oh man, I'm not where I need to be because I just saw 10 posts about people on vacation. Like, what is triggering it? Okay, if you looking at posts, if it's posts, then maybe you need to take an internet break. Like, maybe you just need to take a break. Because you don't know anything about that backstory about those photos. You don't know if they won a trip, and it's like, oh, now yeah, you want to take some pictures, you want to enjoy that. Like, oh, I got a free trip. They may not have had to put no money down on there. They might have just been a tag along. Somebody had an extra trip because somebody fell off, and now they're posting about it. Like, you don't know the background of what they even had the experience to go through to be able to take that trip. Whether it's just experiences in their life and things like that. Everybody's in their own phase. Like, maybe you do need to take a break from whatever outside influence is causing you to feel bad about where you are. Because if you pay attention, not many people are posting about the struggle that they went through to get to where they are. They're posting about where they are now. They're not talking about all of that. They're giving advice from the finish line, but they're not not steps along the journey. So take a break. Some of you are still in the season of isolation, and you are meant to stay there for a little bit longer. And some of you are staying in isolation out of fear. Your isolation period has ended. It is now time to revive yourself around new people that you feel called to be around, new places. Go explore some new places around you. Do things that's going to revive your spirit. If you've been thinking about joining some type of sport league or something in your area, do it. Go check it out. Go watch a few games. Go do something to help revive you so that you can get back moving if you've been feeling stagnant or stuck. But don't be so hard on yourself, because that's just an endless cycle of fear. That's you're just being hard on yourself out of fear, out of doubt. It has nothing to do with who you are today. That's an old version of you that's trying to pull you back and say, hey, we've never been here before. We don't know what to do. But up until now, you really didn't know what to do either. But you've been doing it. Now is not the time to be hard on yourself. I need gas, y'all. I need gas, and I need to get my eyebrows done. I ain't gonna lie. I've been saying that for 2 weeks. Probably a month now, actually. I do feel like God is trying to turn a lot of our situations around, and the best thing that we can do is try to just focus on what we can control. And take steps, take action that we need to take. We don't have to be for sure. This is a very weird time right now. It really, really is. But if you've had a strong desire to want to turn your life around or change things, whether within you or around you or whatever area that you are focusing on, I think that it is happening. But being hard on yourself is not going to be the way, because when you're hard on yourself and you're overthinking, overanalyzing, you're getting in the way of hearing from God. He can't communicate with you. Well, he can communicate with you, but you may not be able to hear it because you're being too hard on yourself. All it takes is one God idea to turn your life around, to turn a situation around. It just takes one. But if we're in our head too much, we'll miss it. So try to relax. If you feel like you need to be revived, pray on it. Ask about what you specifically may need if you feel like you don't know. And try not to rush any decisions right now out of desperation. That spirit of desperation, fear, doubt, we're trying to break that. And now is not the time to cling to those things. That is trying to be broken. And it's very scary. It is very uncomfortable. And there's a lot of uncertainty. But don't give power to those feelings. They are just feelings. They are just feelings. Give more energy and more attention and more thought towards why you're doing what you're doing. What are you trying to accomplish? What do you want to pull off in this season? Focus there. That's where most of your work should be right now. If this resonates with you, the mental work. Focus on what you want to focus on, not what you don't. And stop being so hard on yourself.